Today we're going to discuss one of the key ways that property owners can protect their real estate investments, maximize cash flows, and provide a quality space for people to live and work in their communities. Hi everyone, this is Brandon with Coastline Equity, a professional property and asset management company based out here in Southern California. And today we're going to be talking about the 5 most common types of property inspections that every landlord or property manager should be doing routinely. These inspections will also allow you to stay ahead of problems, stay out of legal trouble, and maintain your building in top shape. And it's something that our team takes very seriously. And so let's jump right into it. The first category we're going to go over actually has multiple subcategories in it. But in general, it's what we'll call the move-out and move-in inspections. As the name suggests, these are the inspections that will take place when tenants are moving in or out of your building. Now, we'll be focusing predominantly on the move-in and move-out inspections for residential units, which occur much more frequently and are more commonly handled by landlords themselves or the property management team that they hire, as opposed to commercial real estate, such as retail or industrial, which turn over far less often and are typically outsourced to third-party leasing vendors. So first, let's look at the move-out inspection. As soon as a tenant gives you notice that they will be moving out, we need to start the process of getting that space ready for the next tenant as soon as possible so that we can limit the amount of time that the unit is vacant. Now, in order to do that in the most efficient way, we need to be on top of our move-out inspections. Move-out inspections come in 2 parts. The first move-out inspection is what's known as the pre-move-out, and it will allow you to walk the space with your tenant and ensure that you both have the same level of understanding of how the rest of the move-out process will continue and in what condition the space needs to be returned. This is going to help keep you both on the same page and greatly reduce or eliminate any issues, misunderstandings, or disputes that can sometimes arise during the move-out process and with the tenant's security deposit. During the pre-move-out, you or your property manager will walk the space with the tenant and go systematically through each room and each section that you should have listed on some kind of inspection form. Our dedicated property inspector or the property managers themselves have a specific move-out inspection form that we use here at Coastline Equity. You'll want to coordinate this inspection with your tenant at least 2 weeks prior to their move-out date. Since their belongings will likely still be in place, you're mostly looking for any obvious or large issues that will need to be addressed either prior to the tenant moving out or once the unit is vacant. Not only will this help you to ask the tenant any questions about those issues, but it will give you more time to select and send out a vendor to repair it. Ultimately, this will help to get us started on the right foot towards releasing the space with a new tenant and with as little delay as possible. The second move-out inspection will be the one that you do on your own, either on the same day that the tenant moves out or soon thereafter. Now that all of the previous tenant's belongings have been removed, this inspection will allow you to see every nook and cranny of the space in order to begin setting up any necessary work to bring that unit back to rent-ready condition. It will also enable you to accurately determine if there are any deductions needed from the previous tenant's security deposit. This is simply known as the move-out inspection, and you should, again, have a separate and specific form available for you or your property manager to use in order to document everything that you see. We also highly recommend taking as many photos and videos of the space as possible to keep a visual record of what you find and to further substantiate your security deposit charges. In fact, photos and videos can go a long way for just about all of these inspections we're going to discuss. Now, as mentioned before, we recommend that you set up this move-out inspection as soon as possible, once the space is vacant, because by law, the landlord must return a tenant's security deposit within 21 days of their move-out date. As a property manager, I've definitely seen how between coordinating and scheduling any necessary work with your vendors, as well as managing any other units that you have for rent, those 21 days can go by very quickly. So making your move-out inspection a priority is critical to keeping you out of legal trouble. At Coastline Equity, we're fortunate to have specific team members that can focus solely on inspections for you and make sure that everything is done in the most time-efficient way possible. Now, once you have a newly signed lease for your vacant space, you will want to perform a move-in inspection just prior to or on the same day as your new tenant's move-in date. The purpose of the move-in inspection is to walk through and verify that everything in the space is in good working condition for the new tenant to take possession of. You may want to perform this inspection alongside your new tenant so that you can both visually confirm that the space is being handed to them in good condition, or if necessary, that you are both acknowledging any aspects of the space that are in less than perfect condition, but that will not be resolved prior to move-in. Again, it's also important to have some kind of move-in inspection form that will be used to document the space's condition, and then have the tenant sign that form before handing them the keys. This will help to keep you both on the same page in terms of what exactly is being provided by the landlord, hopefully reducing or eliminating any disputes later on about what the tenant received when they moved in. Next, let's continue with the inspections that are performed within a specific unit by going over interior inspections. If that new tenant that just leased your vacant space ends up staying for a while, a lot of time may pass before you ever see the inside of that unit again. That is, unless you make it a point to set up an interior inspection. These inspections will allow you to verify that everything inside the unit remains in a safe and well-maintained condition, ensuring that your tenant's needs are met and that your building stays in compliance with local laws. A quick and easy example of this is checking to see that any required smoke or carbon monoxide detectors are still in place and in good working order. Doing so will give you peace of mind that the tenant is taking care of your space, but it also gives us a great opportunity to speak with the tenant about their experience so far. Now, how often should you do an interior inspection? Different landlords and property managers have different preferences for when they perform them. Some may choose to do an interior inspection once every quarter, while others prefer once every 6 months. Generally, a good rule of thumb is to do an interior inspection at least once a year. Also, keep in mind that some areas give landlords the right to enter their rentable space as long as an advance notice has been given, usually in writing, and that the entry occurs during normal business hours. As with all of these inspections, you'll want to check with your state and local laws before taking any action. In California, 24 hours is usually considered reasonable in most cases, and you can find this information in the California Civil Code, which we've linked down below in the description. So we've talked a lot about the inspections that are necessary to be done within a specific unit in your building. But what about the property as a whole? We also want to make sure that all the grounds within the property lines are well maintained in order to provide a quality standard of living for your tenants, as well as, again, to stay compliant with any local laws. After all, it's not unheard of for the city inspector to be the one to notify a landlord or property manager of any issues that are visible from the street and any resulting penalties that they may be responsible for. For your exterior inspection, use a specific inspection form to thoroughly walk through the grounds and look for any issues with the appearance, maintenance, or the tenant's usage of the property. Some basic areas to look out for are the overall landscaping and how well it's maintained, any issues with handrails or lifting of concrete or asphalt that can pose hazards to someone walking on the property, and any issues or outages with the exterior lighting. The frequency of your exterior inspections may depend on the size and type of your property. An industrial lot that is used by a small trucking company will likely need fewer inspections over the course of the year than a medium-sized apartment building or retail center. Generally speaking though, an exterior inspection should be done at least once a month, with many of the commercial properties that we manage here at Coastline Equity receiving 2 inspections per month. Now let's move from the inspections that are done within a given space to some inspections that are needed for specific items on your property. In order to keep your building in good condition, keep your tenants happy, and to prevent any major and unexpected expenses from popping up, we need to make sure that our bigger appliances and machinery are consistently in good working order. For many buildings, one of the first that should be on your list is the HVAC system. You'll want to inspect your HVAC system at least once a year for 2 reasons. One, because tenants will be relying on them heavily during the winter and summer months, and having an HVAC system that's in disrepair will trigger more emergency calls for you to handle when they find out that they can't cool down or warm up their space. And 2, and more importantly, because in most cases a building is considered substandard and therefore not livable if it lacks adequate heating sources. Because of this, the heating system must be maintained in good working condition by the landlord. In many cases, this is governed by state and local ordinances. And in some cases, the local ordinances may exceed the state law requirements. We recommend sending out a professional technician that can inspect and repair your HVAC system at least once a year. Lastly, every property manager in California knows that once we finally start getting that much needed rainfall, we're also very likely to receive calls from tenants about leaks. Since rain often falls towards the later end of the day, those calls will likely start pouring in after normal business hours when residential tenants return home from work, or in the case of commercial properties, such as retail centers, during busy hours when customers are out shopping or eating after they get off from work. As you're probably aware, water has a way of making its way down into your building no matter how small and inconspicuous the space it has to squeeze through, which means that it's very difficult to completely prevent any kind of leaking. You can, however, minimize the chances of leaks occurring, especially major ones that end up being very costly, by doing a thorough inspection of your roof. Ideally, this will be done by a professional rather than yourself or your property manager, since a professional roof inspector will be able to spot even the smallest signs of potential leak areas with more precision and experience than the average person. Also, being able to say that you hired a professional will better protect you in the case of a major leak and any resulting complaints. Now, with that being said, it also doesn't hurt to take some time to give a quick glance at the roof yourself and try to spot any glaring issues. Look out for any major cracks or items that your tenants have placed on the roof without your consent. A very common issue is when tenants have satellite dishes installed on the roof without your knowledge, which leads to entrances for water to seep through. Routine inspections are a vital part of managing your real estate investment. They will save you headaches, save you money, and they're an important way to provide quality service to your customers. Staying on top of routine inspections and keeping that information that you gather in a safe and organized way will help to ensure future investment success. If you have any questions about inspections for your property, please feel free to reach out to us on our website. And if you got any value out of this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to our growing channel. Until then, from all of us here at Coastline Equity, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.